Hola amigos, yo soy su nuevo presidente, el señor Donaldo J. Trump. Your ex-presidente, el señor Maduro, is no longer your presidente. He kept talking shit, and fucking around, and he ultimately found out, though. Anyway, we're going to make Venezuela grande again. Mucho grande. El bigger y el better than ever before. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to have a big, beautiful fiesta, all the tacos you want. Mucho mariachi, sexy mamacitas, and delicious margaritas. And President Trump is going to be el DJ, okay? Muchas gracias, muchachos. Y let's make el Venezuela grande again. Arriba el Venezuela, amigos.
There's been a lot in the news lately about what we did in Venezuela. That gluttonous lesbian, Rosie O'Donnell, who fled to Ireland over Trump's win, is now screeching that the president's capture of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro is illegal and a war crime. And she called Trump mentally unstable, as opposed to running to another country because the person running for president you didn't like won. But let's start out with dispelling a myth. The myth of the existence of international law. There's no such thing. If it exists, who the fuck enforces it? What supreme global police force or court with universal jurisdiction exists to compel compliance? Get some liberal, screeching dipshit to explain that to you. If Trump got kidnapped today, there wouldn't be a single leftist motherfucker in this country crying about international law. So leftists know damn well international law is bullshit. You assholes laughed at attempted assassination and literal assassination of Charlie Kirk, so shut the fuck up. You are perfectly fine with third worlders breaking into this fucking country and violating immigration laws. You don't give a fuck about laws. Now, when it comes to Venezuela, fuck them. Take all their shit. I'm not for prolonged wars with boots on the ground, thousands dead, while we launder billions of fucking dollars, but I am for efficient imperialism. Send the Blackhawks. Capture one fucker sleeping in the middle of the night, handcuff his ass, take a rancid shit in his toilet, don't flush it, pinch his wife on the ass on the way out, load him into a chopper and fucking jet, all in about 45 minutes, and get billions of dollars. Then, after the Venezuela implement democracy, the 7 million nationals in this country should go back home. It's a win-win-win all the way around. There's an easy way to break down the world into basically three categories. The United States, we're a tier 1 country. Other than Russia and China, which are also tier 1 countries. Nobody else gets a say in anything. We can't overthrow them. They can't overthrow us. They can't overthrow each other. We're the countries with the might. And might makes right in the world. And that's just a fact. You don't have to like it, but you have to accept it. Every single law on the planet is backed by violence. Laws are nothing more than words some fucking pinhead wrote on a piece of paper. They're only backed by violence. Leftists won't admit this. But they're the first to advocate that the government use force through the IRS under threat of imprisonment by force to take more money from billionaires. So they know this is true intuitively. They just selectively pick when and where they want to apply it. Here's an experiment you can do. Drive down the road. Speed like a fucking idiot. Get caught by the cops. Get a ticket. Then refuse to pay that ticket. Then hide your car so they can't impound it. Eventually, a cop's going to show up at your door and put your ass in jail. If you refuse to go, he'll take you there by force. If you fight him, he'll wave a fucking gun in your face. Try it. Give it a go and see how that works out. Whoever has the most ability to wage violence makes the law. Full stop. So, We've established three things already that are important. There are no international laws. Might makes right. And the U.S., Russia, and China are tier one countries. And nobody else has true sovereignty. We then have tier two countries who can't defend their national interest on their own. Canada is a good example of this. Without us, Canada would be fucked. Saudi Arabia is another good example. These type of countries decide which tier one country they want to be friends with for protection. It's sort of like prison. Then we have tier three countries, also known as shitholes. And shitholes don't get a choice in anything. Can we think of a tier three country off the top of our heads? I know Venezuela. You could argue that they're tier two and they picked friends as Russia and China. But no, they're tier three because their dumb taco-eating president went to sleep knowing full well an entire U.S. Navy armada was sitting off his fucking coast. Kinda tired. Who the fuck goes to sleep knowing full well your country is about to be fucking steamrolled? But a tier three shithole. Most countries are just like Venezuela, tier three shitholes. So we've established four important things. Number one, there are no international laws. 2, all laws are backed by violence. 3, the U.S., Russia, and China are tier one countries and nobody else has true sovereignty. And 4, most countries are tier three shitholes. Now, why is kidnapping the fat slob leader of Venezuela okay? Why is that a good thing? Because it's efficient imperialism. Their country, our oil, forever. This isn't Iraq or Afghanistan. As I said, we flew in, put him in handcuffs while he was sleeping, took a shit in his toilet, and jetted. Now, when it comes to running Venezuela, no, I'm not for that. Fuck that shit. Just take their shit and get the fuck out. We're not running anything. And here in this country, we have leftists who are now suddenly pro-kings. After all their rallies, running around protesting our kidnapping of this fat fuck. And on the other side, we have those saying Venezuelans are happy and they're celebrating. Some are saying they're upset, they're indifferent. Why should we give a fuck either way? Who cares if they're happy, upset, indifferent? Who gives a shit? You're a tier 3 nation. Nobody gives a crap what you think about anything. The reason Trump is better in this particular instance is because instead of starting a forever war to launder money and rape the U.S. taxpayers, he just got in and got out and did the job. Now America's richer. So do you want cheaper gas? Or do you want to pay more so some fat king can remain in charge of a country you can give two fucking shits about? If an asteroid hit Venezuela right now, your weekend wouldn't fucking change. Not one fucking bit. So we've now established some realities that most don't like to admit. Liberals, idealists especially, don't like to grasp this shit. They think the world works very differently because they only view it from how they would like to think it works in a perfect world. But the world isn't perfect and never will be. So it's better to accept how it actually works. I'll give you an analogy. If you went to a doctor and he told you that you had 6 months to live, would you pretend it's all bullshit and just go on with your life as if you have 40 years ahead of you? Or would you say, oh shit, I'm going to go and do all the things I wanted to do before I die. I don't have much time. Everyone would pick the latter, even liberals and idealists. Because it is then they have to realize they must build their mental framework around reality. Because they're forced into it. They no longer have the luxury of time to pretend otherwise. So when it comes to the real world, it's foolish for us to think in idealistic terms. You lock your door at night. because you know the world isn't an idealistic place. And someone might come in and take your shit, and they might even fucking kill you in the process. A lot of people said what we did in Venezuela was wrong, and we shouldn't have been done. But I would argue that Venezuela was one of the greatest military achievements in the 21st century thus far. Now, why would I say that? It's got to do with soft power. We all like our way of life here in the United States. At the end of the day, even if you might complain about certain femme-centric bullshit aspects of it or the hordes of third world illegals, deep down, we know we wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But once America falls, our way of life will go with it. So it's important for us to remain the number one superpower. In order for us to remain a superpower, we have to win. And when we win, someone else has to lose. And life, in many ways, is about perception. When you're perceived as a winner, others want to be like you. General George Patton, just before D-Day, he gave a speech to a platoon of soldiers that were about to head to Europe. And in part of his speech, he said, "When we were kids, you all admired the champion marble player, the fastest runner, the toughest boxer, the big league ball players, and the all-American football players. Americans love a winner. Americans will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time." Well, we've spent the past 75 years since World War II losing. North Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, where we just lose trillions in dollars and thousands of lives. If you continue to lose, you will be perceived to be weak, no matter if that's true or not. The hard power exerted in Venezuela allows us to exert soft power globally. As I said before with the analogy of locking your doors at night, because you know there are people out there looking to take your shit, the world works exactly the same way. America, however, has a life hack: our dollar. Our dollar is the reserve currency of the world, and we can print as much of it as we want. We can print it from thin air. If we want something someone else has, we can just print the money and take it. Prior to World War II, that's how America got rich. You're another country, you have gold. We can give you dollars for gold. So during World War II, when Europe and the Allies needed tanks, bullets, war machinery, etc., they bought that shit off of us in exchange for gold. Our dollar was tied to gold. So now we have all the gold post-World War II. So now these countries, they need to rebuild, but they have very little gold. So we said, okay, the dollar's linked to gold, so we'll just give you dollars. And you can link your currency to the dollar. This is how we obtain the status of world reserve currency. But then we had the Korean War, which was a proxy war with Russia. Then we had a proxy war with Russia in Vietnam. War's expensive. So our friends in Europe thought, hey, wars are expensive. How do we know these fucking Yanks have enough gold, seeing as how their dollar is backed by gold? And they were right. We were printing more dollars than we had in gold to back it up. So Nixon comes along, and he delinked the dollar from gold. From that point forward, the dollar was only backed by our ability to kick the ever-loving shit out of every other country. Violence. That's what backs the dollar. It's the global reserve currency because if you don't accept it, we'll fuck you up. The dollar is backed by the American military machine. If any country gets a wild hair in their ass and decides not to use the dollar, the leader of that country, usually a tier 3 shithole, maybe he gets assassinated. Maybe he falls down a flight of stairs and there's a regime change. I don't know. I'm just saying it happens. So America can print unlimited free money to steal everyone else's shit. Let's imagine you're Botswana and you want to do business with Chile. You say, hey, Chile, I want your brand of tacos. And Chile says, okay, buy them then. And Botswana offers their pula. Chile will say, we don't want that, you shitty pula. You might have a coup in a week, and your pula will be worthless in less than a month. We want dollars. So the entire currency system in the world is backed by the belief that America can kick the shit out of everybody. And as soon as that belief no longer holds weight, the Western world as we know it goes broke because the rest of the world stops using the dollar. So, to all the dipshit leftists crying about how Orange Man violated international law, will your life be better if your currency collapses and food riots begin? Or will your life be better if we just fly in with some Blackhawks and put a fat Mexican in cuffs and jet? 17 trillion in oil, and you think it's better to not kidnap his ass and instead risk our currency collapsing? You're straight up fucking retarded. That's how the world actually works. It's a big shit show in which everyone's trying to fuck everyone else. The dollar allows us to steal peacefully because we print free money and steal their shit. And if we can't buy it because you won't sell it to us, there's always some dipshit in your country that will sell it to us. The reason we don't like dictatorships in the West is because we can't choose who leads their country. If you're a dictator, you're in charge. But if it's a democracy, we get to determine who's in charge. So we'll make sure the person who wants to sell their shit to us ends up winning through a lot of influence over their election, maybe a little election rigging, just a little, just the tip. So the U.S. chooses the leaders of countries all day, every day. We love democracy, not because it's good for you, but because it's good for the country. This time in Venezuela, we didn't do election rigging and dollars. We used Blackhawks and grabbed his fat ass. That's what leftists are upset about, how we did it. They're fine with election rigging and dollars influencing a fucking election. Just look at 2020. Now, we called Maduro at first, and we said to him, give us oil and we'll give you dollars. He said, no, my country is sovereign. And then he badmouthed Israel, which is never a good idea if you're a tier 3 shithole. So we then called his military generals and offered them dollars. And guess what? They sold his fat taco-eating ass out. They turned off their air defense. So going back to what I said before about international law being bullshit, who actually enforces international law? We do, America. So we can do whatever the fuck we want. The whole premise that we're going to pass a bunch of laws and all these countries filled with guns and nuclear weapons are going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya and standing around in a circle jerk in the UN building having a long discussion of who gets what and how we're all going to be friends is fucking ludicrous. How can we have international law without violence? That would mean, in your idealistic scenario, a country like Venezuela, which is a shithole, can tell a tier 1 country like the U.S., the largest war machine in history, what to do. Hi, we're America. We're the biggest and strongest on the block. We want to do this. Hi, we're Venezuela. No, we have tacos. Think of world politics as a board game or card game. Why Venezuela was important to our empire is because the Western governments play poker. The Russians play chess. The Chinese play Go. In chess, you can see what your opponent is trying to do. The question is, can you stop it? It's not a matter of trying to hide your intentions. It's a matter of building a board and position so strong that your intentions can be forced upon your opponent. They cannot stop what you're doing. Everybody understands Putin's goals in Ukraine. He told you what they were. He's been very honest with you. The Chinese and Russians will tell you what they're going to do. Then you have to try and stop them. The Russians more so than the Chinese. But in the West, our politicians play poker, and poker is built on lying. Western politicians lie. I know this is a revelation for most. They lie to you, they lie to their allies, they lie to their enemies, they lie to their spouses. And the primary objective of the American empire is to endlessly bluff. They want to scare you into resigning. Because everybody knows, no matter how big your army is, you can't fight everybody and you can't fight all the time. So everyone has to fear your bark. And the only way they will fear your bark is if they saw the last guy who got bit. If you don't have a bite, you don't have a bark. This is why what we did in Venezuela is extremely important for American soft power. It will prevent wars. Now, when America says something, people are afraid. And when it's said by Trump, they're really afraid because he's a loose cannon. He's not fucking around. Once Maduro was in handcuffs, the CIA got out its phone book and they called all their other Mexicos and tier 3 shitholes and they said, "Did you see what we just did? Fuck around and find out." America doesn't need to send any more Blackhawks because now these taco benders are fucking shook. They couldn't do that before this hard power demonstration. And now, every leader is out there on X, tweeting, begging Trump not to take their shit. The Danish are even sounding off for fear he'll take Greenland, which I think he should. What the fuck is Denmark going to do about it? I think we should take Denmark by extension. And then, why not Iceland? Why the fuck not? Our bark is scary because our bite is strong, and we've proven it. If we really want Greenland, we're going to fucking take it. And then I'd start threatening those light and the loafer Canadians as well, which is essentially India at this point. Europe is also top of the list because it's worth saving from the spineless pussy leaders that allow all these dirtbag tier 3 people into their country to destroy them. Europe has great coffee, beautiful women, great history. It's worth saving. Macron, he needs to go. Merz, Starmer, Ursula, they all need to fucking go. Regime change all these pussy-ass shithole countries. That is good for anyone living a Western way of life. It's good for us. The threat of violence prevents violence. Shit, in Africa right now, there's about 5 wars going on. And if there aren't 2 tribes or countries at war, the rest are threatening each other. Get rid of this idea that the world is a peaceful place. It seems that way because the best thing our leaders ever did was outsource wars to other places. We're in a proxy war right now with Russia. But it's not fought in LA. It's not fought in New York. It's not fought in Chicago. It's in fucking Ukraine. We fight in a shithole, not here. This all flows down even to the individual as well. It works the same for each one of us on an individual level. Think about it. Each of us is at constant war with others, and people will exploit you if they believe you're exploitable. Go through divvying up assets in a will with siblings and tell me that's not fucking true. So it's down to how much you can protect yourself, protect your psyche, protect your house, protect your ideas. Otherwise, they will come for you. So there you go. So when a leftist dipshit argues with you about kidnapping a taco-eating fucking Mexican out of Venezuela as they sit behind their $1,500 gaming PC sipping on their $15 mocha latte from Starbucks, claiming Trump violated international law and he's starting World War III. Just realize they have no clue how the world really works, and they're essentially slaves to the fucking system. Fuck them. There you have it. Thanks for watching, so you can be kept up to date on the reality of geopolitics as we make a shit libs cope.